It's Talking Back with Matt today. All right, we had a great conversation with Jay Scott. We've been on the ground in LA at the protest going on. They have become very hostile, very violent at times. We've been talking about the how they've been infiltrated, how these provocateurs, how they behave, how they function, how the police functions, this theater between the Trump side, the Newsom side. We've been talking about Palantir and what Palantir, the ultimate plan of the surveillance state, and weaponizing our emotions against us on both sides. And the media is also guilty of escalating the tensions from the right to the left. And it's our job to call out BS on all of it. And you guys know that. And that's why you're here with us today. Let's hear some about what you guys have to say on Talking Back with Matt. And thanks for chiming in here, Leslie. Yes, she was with us. Hi, guys. Be safe. I felt safe. I did not feel safe with the police presence, however. And yeah, that's the thing about it. And we discovered here that the police are obviously going to respond to violence. Anything you throw at them, they're firing back. But understand that if you're peaceful, they're also going to antagonize, because you can't have these protests without the escalation. You got to have escalation. If you don't have escalation, that shows that they were successful. That's how it works, guys. That's how it works. They have to be not successful so the media can report on the chaos that broke out. They have to be able to do that. And that, again, that keeps us in our camps, blah, blah, blah. So just know that. And that's why it is kind of scary with those police. And I'll say this, and I really am starting to understand more about being around the police and having a press badge. Before they get the cue to go, some of them are really cool. When they're in non-combat mode, they're kind of cool. Hey, what's up? Oh, coming through. Get from the car. Here's our press badge. We got to get over to this area. We have like this special area we can park. All good. As soon as they get the call, go into war mode. We're all targets, and reporters got hit. Our colleagues got hit in the back. People falling down, equipment breaking, people getting hurt. They don't care. They were in war mode. And I want to be absolutely clear about yesterday. They were the aggressors yesterday, not the previous days, but yesterday they started it. Okay. Which is very true. I'm telling you, because we were there. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. The looters. We didn't talk about the looters. All sentient beings. The infiltrators are the rioters. The looters. They're not with the people. That's true. And this is part of the divide. How do you get everybody organized? How do you do it? It's literally impossible. Everything's working against you if you're trying to have an honest protest. Everything's working against you. There's really no way to do it. There's really no way to do it. Or you're going to not even be, you're going to be so small, so unimpressionable, then you just get ignored. That's another way to beat you. Is it just to be ignored? You didn't make too big of an impact at all, so no one cares. The media won't even report. So there's really no way to get through this thing. Okay, let's get to some of you guys here. Oh, cool. We had thank you, Peaceful Warrior. Independent reposted this stream. Thank you so much, Peaceful Warrior Independent. Love you, man. Very cool. Very cool. This is cool. Sander Klingon, the LA riots are a psyop to manufacture consent for Palantir and a social credit system. Sanders Klingon, you knew the show before we did the show. You knew that's where we were going. You know what we're doing. Very cool. Way to belt it out. Thank you for your support on the channel, and we're all doing the good work. So yeah, thanks for the support. That's awesome. Good call. Good call. Yeah. Evie Burke, hi all, and Fox. Wait, what is hi? HI all and Fox, F Fox. Oh, I see. And F Fox News. If you rely on these medias, you're the fool. And then she goes on. I want to go to that mic and scream fake news. Love it. Love it. All set in beans. Shut up, Fox. Garbage. Totally garbage. Leslie, you're right. Fox, CNN, KTLA. And by the way, shout out to Leslie for sending me the KTLA clip of them saying, why are they Why are the protesters putting on face shields? That's weird. Why? Because the cops are firing bullets, rubber bullets, and smoke bombs and tear gas. They're firing all that stuff. So that's weird. Why would they put that on? I'm so confused. I'm so nervous. Why would the protesters need protection? Very strange. Thank you for that, Leslie. Let's see what else. Of course, Free Palestine. Of course. And as far as the SEIU leader has a felony charge right now. That doesn't mean it can't be dropped later. All he did was pay the bail. That's all he did. It was $50,000. I'm assuming raised or paid for by SEIU. They actually have a fund. The SEIU has a fund for bail money, as they should. So that's all we know. He got out, but we don't know what's going on with the felony of obstruction. And he's the one, by the way, he's the one that got injured. He's the one got injured as he was being arrested. That was part of the initial protest yesterday, which was very peaceful until the cops made it not peaceful. I'm telling you guys, we were there the whole time. It was very peaceful. People were yelling and screaming, but they weren't being violent. They were yelling and screaming at the National Guard, which was set up right in front of the federal building. That's what happened. National Guard, they were just standing there, and the people protesting were yelling at them. That's how protesting works. You're allowed to stand in the street across from a federal building. You're not allowed to go into the building, which we know. You're not allowed to go protest inside a federal building, but you can protest outside. Perfectly legal to yell and scream. You can do that. You can't threaten violence in the sense like I'm going to shoot you right now. You can't do that, but you can yell and scream. That's your right. That's what people were doing yesterday. They were yelling and screaming, standing there in a space that was public in front of a private building, not trying to go into the building. And I'm not suggesting that that was a whole, we've covered January 6th. We know that was a psyop and they were tricked into the building and it was this let's take some selfies moment. But the way they conduct psyops on us are different depending on who you are. It's not a one size fits all psyop. It's not how it works. Psyops are about targeting the individual group or person and personalizing the attack on them, just as algorithms do in our social media feeds. That's what algorithms do. They target you personally for the thing you want to see based on what they heard you just say. You guys know how that works. You say something to somebody, you have a conversation, pick up your phone. Wait a minute. Why did this thing come up about Target? Oh my God, did I just mention Target in my last conversation? And now I got a thing to go to Target for what the hell? How did it know? So there are targeting techniques to personalize, to get you excited by the thing that'll excite you. If it's not Ray Epps at the January 6th telling people we're going to peacefully go into the building. We're going to go into the building, peacefully go into the building. These are techniques that he knows would work on that particular crowd. On the crowd out at the riot or the protests here in LA, what will work is going up in the garb and going into the cop and taunting and making it look like, oh, we can do that. We can go up to them and wave capes that are communist flags and stuff. So that's the way you entice a crowd to go, oh, that looks right. Let's do that. And then you go up and you do the same thing. And then the police knock you over and then people see that. And then they start throwing. So it's called escalation. Escalation. It works on both sides, on all sides. They can escalate. They figure out ways to escalate and trick you into doing something you wouldn't have done. Like people on January 6th would have gone into the Capitol. You didn't go there to go into the Capitol. You went there to protest. I know this because I know journalists that went there to cover it. And you got tricked into going in. They opened the door and then they had feds break the glass on another side. And that's the part the media filmed. And then they're like, look at them breaking the glass. And they were let in to a side door. And everybody walked in and took pictures, got a tour, did selfies with police. By the way, the right wing loves police. So they knew that's how you get them. Do you guys get it? Do you guys get it now? That's how they got the right wing Second Amendment gun nuts who you got to leave your guns at home. Of course they left their guns at home because they weren't doing an insurrection. They were showing up to protest peacefully. They were invited into the building by their police friends who said, let's take selfies. Let's take selfies. Come on, let's take selfies. That's what happened. So you guys that know that understand there's an attack on the left too. They can get you another way. They know the left despises cops. They're afraid. They're a lot more afraid of cops. They're a lot more petrified of cops than the right. So you find another way to get their emotions going and get them to do something, the equivalent of going into the Capitol. They get you to do something that you weren't going to do. When you woke up that morning, you weren't going to do that thing. You were going to do something else, and then you ended up doing this. That's how they get you. That's how they get you. Oh, this one's good from we gotta look at Chile 2019. That's true. You know what? I'm gonna pull some of that up. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Going to Chile 2019 and seeing the same thing. Very cool. And we took this one up earlier, Sander. The protest quieter, please. Yes, we do need to be quieter. And then people that are being too loud, we got to look and say, what are you doing? Why are you trying to rile up the crowd? So be careful on that. Oh, Applejack checked in. Shout out to the homie Matt Weinglass. Remember, July 16th, homeless assistance in Canton, Ohio. Okay, we'll look into that. I think that's July 16th. Okay, thank you for that, Applejack. Appreciate it. Oh, thank you for this one. All sentient beings. This is important. We didn't get into this. We've been talking about the police training, but we forgot to remind you guys, if you didn't know already, trained by Israel. This explains by the way, guys, this explains everything. We talk about time to get into war mode. You get the order on your ear? Okay, let's go. We're in enemy combat territory. You guys have to understand this. This was the initial purpose of Black Lives Matter until it was captured by the establishment. It was the wrong slogan, by the way. They were calling out this police state of going around neighborhoods and policing them like the enemy, when police are supposed to be protecting the neighborhoods and protecting the citizens of that neighborhood. The way our police are trained they're not actually allowed. Did you know they don't live in the communities they patrol? You know that, right? Did you guys not know that? If you know any cops, they're deliberately given routes and territories that they don't live in. So they'll live somewhere nice in the valley, and they'll drive down to South Central and they'll patrol South Central. Do they care about South Central as much as their own neighborhood? In Van Nuys, in wherever they're at in North Hollywood? Do they care? Do they care about the South Central? No. So when it's time to get into combat mode, everyone is the enemy. And that's why people that can't afford representation, they get shitty deals. That's the prison industrial complex. So we know this is what Black Lives Matter was supposed to be about. But instead they made it turned into a race war when it really should be a class war, power war. And the prison industrial complex taking it on behalf of anyone who can't afford an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, you're screwed. You have evidence planted. You can't afford a representation. You get a public defender that tells you to take the deal. What's the deal? 1 felony instead of 3. What's the deal? 5 years instead of life. So you're pleading guilty to a case to a crime you didn't commit. So why would you do that? Why would you say guilty to if you've never lived in the shoes of somebody struggling, you don't know what that feeling is like. To say, I have no choice. I have to take a plea deal for something I didn't do. So anyways, you understand there's so much more to this conversation than cops are out to kill Black people. Cops are out to kill the enemy because they're trained by freaking Israel. And the enemy is going to be more obvious when it's in a poor area. That's why it's more, you are going to have more cases with minority people. That's how it works. But we're all targets if we don't have the means, the OJ means of representation. If you can't afford a Johnny Cochran team, you are a target. Some are more than others. That's how it goes. So we have to start fighting the class war system and the military industrial complex, which includes the police, guys. Why does the left hate cops but love our government agencies? Why does the right love cops but hate our government agencies. When are we going to realize we got to hate them all? Because they're all people in positions of power that supersede the rights of the people they're supposed to be protecting and keeping safe. All the same, guys. All the same. And at the end of the guys, I actually don't. I'm in here right now and I'm getting a report. With the Marines have arrived. We have Marines here now. We have the National Guard has been here. They're lined up everywhere in the city right now. That's happening right now here in LA. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I personally, being out there, being fired at by police, I don't actually give a shit if it's the police, if it's the highway patrol, for crying out loud, if it's the Marines, if it's the National Guard. I don't care who's firing at me. I'm being fired at. I don't care who's taking my rights away to protest. I'm having that right taken away. I don't care what weapon they're using. Is it a tank? Is it doesn't matter what it is. They're going to do it. So why are we bickering over which division of military is coming in to set up a perimeter around our city? What does it? The point is that somebody's there with a gun and they're there to inflict violence and whatever type of intimidation. So let's stop bickering over which one it is and say what happened to our rights, whether it's a cop firing at us or a Marine. What does it matter? So we have to try and be on the same side here, guys. Let's try to be on the same side. Our right to protest, not to be called domestic terrorists, not to be called insurrectionists. Come on. Okay. Let's do a couple more, and then we'll get to the last story. We still got to cover Greta for you guys, the Greta psyop. Let's see what else we got. Oh, we got a bunch here. One more from Zootzilla. What we need to do is stop bombing other countries and let them rule their way. You won't have millions of refugees. That's a great point. So all the travel bans and border problems and blaming Biden, blaming Trump. We love to blame Biden for open borders. We love to blame Trump for travel bans and raids, ICE raids. But we never talk about the root of the problem. We never talk about the creating of refugees, the created border problem, the created people want to come here because we destroyed their effing country, either with a bomb, a physical bomb, or a financial bomb, an economic bomb, physical bomb or economic bomb. We've destroyed your country. And now you need a place to go. And so let's stop with the Trump and his travel bans and his immigration and Biden with his open border and, EBT cards. Let's look at the problem. We haven't even talked about child trafficking and the cartel and the corruption and the participation and the initiation of our own government agencies doing this, the CIA and the Mossad, conducting these operations at the border. We haven't talked about that. So let's just step back sometimes, look at the full picture, what's really going on, and more importantly, what is the actual goal? Not what they're telling me on TV. What is the actual goal? What do you think the actual goal? Is it to get rid of as many undocumented workers as possible so the CEOs and shareholders struggle and they can't pay their below living wages anymore because they've been exploiting undocumented workers? You think they're all going to be okay with that? At some point, that has to stop. Do you think that might not be the goal? That might be the flex. It might be the pizzazz. It might be the let's do a little bit and scare them. Do you think that's the ultimate goal, or do you think there might be something else? That it might be a means to get to a more nefarious goal. The more nefarious goal might be the surveillance state, i.e., the fourth industrial revolution, where we're all victims of this. I guess you would call it a international, or right now it's a national database for every American citizen to control every move we do from here on out from one entity, Palantir. That might be it. That might be it. We'll stay up on it. We'll let you guys know when we know 100%. But that about 90, 95, 96% sure at this point. It's because of Palantir. That's what's happening. Well, let's talk about this comment real quick. Let's talk about this. Ed Ram says, I think these folks are citizens, Jay. I don't think immigrants are risking anything being out here. Okay. A lot of citizens are doing this on behalf of family members and friends. And that's true, Ed. There are a lot of citizens. But immigrants are showing up too. They're doing it in a more careful way. They're doing it with their heads covered. We know they're more in groups. These are not, I'm not talking about the provocateurs that are by themselves and they come out of nowhere and they disappear. They are, we have seen groups that we feel that come together that are, there's a certain about you can see culturally, you can see they're bringing the pride of their country. They're bringing their flags. They're staying a little more low key, but they're there. But you're right. There's a lot of citizens here on behalf of them. That's the point, because they're affected. Their family members, friends, they have somebody in their life that's affected by this, and that's why they're showing up on their behalf. So you are definitely right about that, Ed. But there is more to it. There's more to it. The immigrants are definitely some of them that are ready to risk everything because, and think of this, because their parents just got deported, because there was a raid that just happened in their business, office, school. They're literally doing raids inside of elementary schools right here in LA. That's happening. So on behalf of them, you might be willing to risk it all for a cause. So that could also be a thing. So let's be open to all the different possibilities. But one thing we can all agree on is they're not coordinated. That's the problem. There's nothing coordinated about any of these efforts. It's all these different groups doing their own thing. Let's see what else. Oh, look at this. We got to look into this. Thanks, Loriella. Ex-Google CEO Eric Schmidt making drones in Estonia. We need to look into that. Thanks for the heads up. Loriella. Appreciate it. We'll do a few more. Jokers for you. Thanks for tuning in. Ironically, it's really not about controlling immigrants. It's 90% to control everyone else. It's a means to an end. That's it. You nailed it, Jokers. Nailed it. I think we got some more. I might pull these up later. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. We'll do one more right now. Okay, Cobra Commander, appreciate you. Trump is escalating the situation so they can have a precedent to use more force and surveillance. That said, you still should be in the streets, just like the college Palestine protesters. That's correct. You know what? Great point. Absolutely, Trump is escalating it. We need to be in the streets. We're just trying to give people more tools to utilize when they're there and just to be aware of the overall thing and to not make the goal. We got to stop the racist Trump. We got to stop the Hitler Trump. That's a performance piece. Now, I'm not saying he's not racist. I'm saying he's not uniquely racist. Every single my God, Joe Biden's record for racism is outstanding. I mean, this guy with his crime bill, with his speeches, countless speeches in the Senate, countless speeches about the scary black man that's going to rape your daughter. I don't know if you guys heard any of this stuff. And we gotta punch down on the angry black man because they get angry very easily. You've heard, I heard this shit. This is horrible. I'm just saying, let's not get distracted on our current president is uniquely racist. Therefore, he's conducting these policies. Trump doesn't actually have the control you think he has. He's getting the green light. Now you can do your ICE raids. Do you see someone else is allowing him? He's not saying, I felt uniquely racist this morning more than usual. Let's go ahead and up those raids. So just know that that's a simplistic evaluation that's not deep enough. But they want you to stay simplistic. They want you to think. We heard somebody, we didn't mention Ukraine war today, but it's the same Ukraine, this one-dimensional take that Putin is just uniquely just power hungry and wants to take over Europe. And he just woke up one day on a February morning of 2022, and he just said, I feel like taking over Europe and then the rest of the world. Let me go just annihilate Ukraine. The West is going to stop me. So like that is one-dimensional. Let's look at what it's leading towards and then understand that Trump gets a green light to do what he does. He gets to run his mouth. He gets to tell jokes. He gets to do crazy tweets sometimes. But look at the policy itself. The policy itself is approved. It's greenlit, not by him. I think the only thing it seems that he gets to do is run his mouth sometimes. And that's just performance art. That's not policy. Running your mouth is not policy. It's just words. It's feelings. Makes people angry. Oh, I can't believe he said. Look at the policy. Look at the laws. Look at the deal with Palantir. Look at the deal with Palantir. That's the thing we should be talking about. And the fact that the mainstream is not covering it. And when they bring up Palantir, they do it in this is interesting. This should be nice. No critique. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the media spends all day telling us how racist and evil and Hitler-like Trump is? But when Palantir comes up, they go, oh, that looks good. That looks nice. You think if their job was to call out tyranny, you think if their job was to call out somebody that's taking the job and taking our democracy away, because that was the whole thing. Trump's taking democracy away. If that was their job to do it, why wouldn't the Palantir deal be on every single CNN, Fox, MSNBC? Why wouldn't that be on them? Why wouldn't that be? Why were some of my colleagues I met up with that don't watch our show, by the way, some of them don't watch our show. I met up with it. Why did they never heard of Palantir? Yesterday, I'm not even kidding you. Actual journalists on the ground were there to cover the protests. One of them didn't know what Palantir was. I had to show them. They didn't know. So think about that. Think about that. So we're going to do the rest of these a little later. But that is, for now, we're going to leave that as Talking Back with Matt and Cobra Commander. We'll give you the comment of the day.